The goal for Budgets.ai is really to find out where the budgets are, relevant budgets are, and using data science. And the background here is that enterprise sales is challenging. There are many things that we as salespeople have to manage, which also includes sourcing information and processing that information and figuring out if there is budget, right? If a SEC 10K report says certain projects, we infer there is a budget, and there are a lot more sources through which we can infer budgets, but it's a matter of time of whether we spend time researching versus actually working on engaging, building the trust, and closing the deals, right? So that's the balance that that we need to strike. And really, the goal for Budgets.ai is to take that underlying data and process it automatically and predict where the budgets are and reduce the amount of time that we need to spend on researching, so we can spend more time on engaging and closing deals. The underlying data comes from 4 different categories: people intelligence, project intelligence, product intelligence, and partner intelligence. So the 4 P's are who are the employees, what are they working on, what kind of projects are they working on, and that's the project intelligence is, are there new projects, are there new initiatives. Product intelligence has to do with what kind of products companies are using, and then the partner intelligence is who are the partners that they work with. So we aggregate data. These are the major categories. We do aggregate other pieces of information as well that doesn't fit in, and then we run it through what's called a concept graph. This is the proprietary algorithms that we have built that look at the information that is being gathered and infer, is it relevant to what you're selling? Is there a budget associated with it? And then start calibrating and predicting how much budget or how relevant that piece of information is. And also if there are duplicate pieces of information that have already been processed. So the output of all of this is actionable budget intelligence. So a simple number that says how much budget is there in this company, or how much they have just recently spent, what teams, and present it in a way that it is easy to consume and act on. Now, obviously, this is AI driven. None of the budgetary information that we collect is coming from behind the firewall. So we are inferring from publicly available information only. Sometimes we get numbers, most of the times we don't, and it is inferred. So the algorithms need to be continuously calibrated. And there are many ways we calibrate it. One is to match up the numbers that we generate, and they should match with what is publicly presented, and we'll look at it in an example. The other ways are to actually get feedback from the reps who are already in the field, and they have some idea about some budgets, and that's another way we calibrate as well. So with that as a background, I will jump into the demo, which will probably give you more clarity into and what we are talking about. The Budgets.ai application is configured for specific topics. And one of the topics that we have looked at is on AI and big data and cloud-related budgets. So that's one topic. And one of the things that comes up immediately is, okay, who are the vendors in this space? So AWS, Microsoft, Google Cloud, Teradata, Hortonworks. So these are all the vendors in that space. And what is this budget being spent for, right? What are some of the top areas of the spend, what we call as workload, So when the budgets are spent, typically we hear things like Hadoop, Kubernetes, NoSQL. These are the areas where that money is being spent across these vendors. And so on the left side, you will see the list of companies, all the companies and how much money they have spent. Before I go there, let me just talk to you about the time frame. So the budgets are processed continuously, and right now we are looking at the budgets from December 1st, 2017 to November 30th of 2018. So spanning 1 year, roughly 2018 budgets. That's what we are looking at. And what this says is that in the year of 2018, a total of $37 billion was spent across the vendors by all the companies in the US. That is what we are estimating. And of those 37 billion, about 50% or half of that was consumed by or was spent on AWS. And then Microsoft got another 5.7. So that's the aggregate number. That's what we're looking at. A big chunk of money was spent on Hadoop. And then there is also Kubernetes is coming up. So we'll start seeing that as well. Now, the trend line next to the overall budget shows that this is a space that is pretty hot in the sense that it is trending up. From the beginning of the year to the end of the year, the numbers are actually increasing in terms of the overall budgets, and so those are monthly numbers that we are seeing there. So it's almost doubled from the beginning of the year to the end. So this is a good space where budgets are being spent. So now coming to companies that Wells Fargo is has spent about 600 million last year, followed by JP Morgan, and then you'll see the other vendors. Now, if you are going after large accounts, so what you need is just type in your account, right? So say if you own Wells Fargo and you want to see what's going on, Wells Fargo 607. Now we click on that, and you should be able to see the details of this $607 million. So $607 million over 1 year. Surprisingly, it's not AWS, but a big amount is being spent on Teradata. Now, obviously, these are machine-generated numbers, and there is room for error. So anytime you feel like the numbers don't make sense or don't add up, or you are not comfortable, you can always click on the disagree button, and that would take you into a feedback, an anonymous feedback. So here it says Wells Fargo, you don't agree with the vendor feedback, and you can say, so you can say like Teradata is not that big a spend, right? Something like that. You could basically submit that, and that would become go into our feedback for our teams to analyze. And you can mention your name if you want to. If you want to stay anonymous, that's fine. It will help us improve the algorithms. So going back, so we see that, and then obviously a big spend is on Hadoop. That's what they're spending on. And then the more important and actionable number here is which team and where, right? So it says Charlotte, there's a corporate risk team, and corporate risk team shows up several places. So it's spread across Chandler, Minneapolis, and St. Louis, and Charlotte, which is the largest team. And it has 24 million and maybe another 12, 11, 5. So about 50 million out of the 600, close to 10% is being spent by the corporate risk organization. So so probably the largest spend is at Charlotte. So that's probably where the executives are for this team. So if you click on this will take you to LinkedIn, where you will see the executives of the corporate risk management team. And so now you are probably in a familiar territory where you can engage with these executives. So going back, obviously, if this is one team, you can go to the platform team, and you would probably see something similar in terms of executives who are responsible for the platform, a part of the product. So VP of prepaid products. So these are all executives related to the platform team, and that is also in the Charlotte area. So this is one way you can immediately take an action and start engaging or finding the executives that are relevant for this team.
How many companies are you tracking here?
So we are tracking for AI and big data at this point. It's about 12,000 companies in the US.
Okay.
So, and there we have other topics also. We are looking at IT service management, customer experience management, and we are adding more topics. But typically, you would see budgets, relevant budgets or interesting budgets in the top 10,000. Typically, top 2,000 is where all the big budgets are, and then it's a long tail after that. So we go up to 10,000 or 12,000, up to that number.
Okay. Fair enough.
And there are all these new companies that are coming up, especially in the Bay Area, right? There are these fast-growing new companies that have significant funding coming from deep-pocketed VCs. For example, if you want to see just one city, Emeryville, right? Let's say Emeryville, we say it's saying 46 million is being spent on big data, and we know that there are really no big companies in Emeryville, right? But still, there is 46 million. If you look at it, what we are saying is there's a company called Zymergen, which is spending 15 million just in the city of Emeryville. And if you go to Zymergen, you'll see they have different teams, 2.4, 1 million, that's what they spend. And if you go to this products team, here you can see Richard Peters, he's the president of products at Zymergen, and you can click on that and you can see he's actually involved in industrial biotech and machine learning, which is an emerging field. It's a field that is growing very fast, using machine learning for industrial biotech platform, right? So typically when you try to follow the money, the budgets, you will end up seeing some emerging trends also, which is another dimension to it. There are companies like Wells Fargo where you probably have a good understanding of where the money could be spent, and then there are these other companies also to look at, which are very, very interesting.
What I was wanted to bring up, and maybe if you're going to discuss it later on the call, each of the reps that are going to have this trial access, they're going to have a specific list of really top accounts that they want to monitor. So if you could show them if there's ways, what's the best way to do that? And is there a way to just save those so they can keep watch of them? And then also if it's, the territory thing you just kind of showed us about certain regions. So if
so there are two ways by which you can create your custom lists or custom territory. So the first one is, let's say your major accounts, and there are certain number of accounts that that you're interested in tracking, right? Let's say Vishnu is in Chicago, so we'll just go to Chicago and look and pick up some of the big companies there, right? So for example, if you go to Chicago and say JP Morgan, maybe not. Let's see, there is Blue Cross or Blue Shield. That could be interesting. So so you pick one company, and then you pick you start adding the rest of the company: Allstate, United Airlines. So you can just go down Motorola, Groupon, Bank of America. So you can start picking up these companies that you feel are interesting or relevant. And once you do that, TransUnion. So if you add that, you will see that your total budgets are actually adding up here. So you can go up to, okay, I manage 10 accounts, or I want a total of 100 million to start tracking. And as you do that, all the teams are also getting sorted. So what